Yeah. All right, y'all. Now, speaking of Glastonbury, let's get into this mess. So, there was a lot of things that happened over at Glastonbury over the weekend. There was a lot of great performances. One of the performances that I actually liked, because I was catching it on social media and things of that nature, was Jade, formerly of Little Mix. She tore it down. I was like, girl, I can't wait for this album. I need to see her live. Hopefully she will do a she'll come to the US and I can see her at one of the small events because yeah, she's doing a theater concert. Like she's not selling out an arena. If y'all set her up for that failure, oh trust and believe, I'm gonna cuss all of y'all out for that one. But nevertheless, there was some drama that happened over the weekend at Glastonbury, particularly with Bob Vylan. Now, I hope that's how I'm saying his name correct. Bob Vylan, Bob Vylan, we'll go with Vylan. So, for those of you probably not heard, Kneecap performed at Glastonbury. Their set was not aired because of them being pro-Palestine and things that they've said. So Glastonbury pretty much has taken a stand on where they, how they feel politically, even though they always, it always cracks me up when a lot of y'all say you're not political, but then the moves y'all make, you're pretty much showing which side you lean on, that you are pro-genocide, you are pro-Zionist, you are pro piece of shit. But shout out to all the artists that went and performed, did whatever they need to do. Y'all got to get y'all coins, get your coins. But so Bob Vylan, who probably a lot of y'all haven't heard of, they're like a rap punk group. I think they're from the UK or whatever. They got on stage, they performed, and people were upset over some of the stuff that they said because what they came off and said pretty much was death to the IDF. Now, for those of you who don't know who the IDF is, no, they're not, the Impossible Mission Force. The team that Ethan Hunt and them fight for. It's the Israel Defense Forces, which Gal Gadot, Zionist Barbie, she fought for them. I heard she was a sniper. So I can only imagine how many brown babies she has that, she's witnessed blowing the bits under her belt. I don't necessarily know if it's true, but I would not be surprised if she's pow-powed a couple of, brown folk. So punk duo Bob Vylan appeared on Saturday before Kneecap on the West Holt stage. During their set, they instigated chants of Free Palestine and death to the IDF. I don't like the tone of this conversation, Billboard. Y'all saying instigated. They basically had the audience chanting Free Palestine and death to the IDF in reference to the Israel Defense Forces and displayed messages criticizing the BBC, their festival's official media partner. Now, in the week leading up to the festival, campaigners had called for Kneecap's set to be canceled owing to the terror defense MC Mo Chara, was recently charged with. A number of acts threw their weight behind the group leading up to the festival, including Fontaine's DC and Massive Attack. I love Massive Attack, by the way. Now, Kneecap's set was not televised on the iPlayer stream, but Bob Vylan's performance was broadcast live. And that was because they knew we're going to use this opportunity to come in and let you hoes know where we stand politically. Oh, excuse me. So Kneecap's set was, as I said, was not televised. The BBC reports that Somerset and Avon police were addressing the chants by Vylan. A BBC spokesperson told The Independent that some of the comments made during Bob Vylan's set were deeply offensive. Now, during the live stream on iPlayer, which reflected what is happening on stage, a warning was issued on screen about the very strong and discriminatory language. We have no plans to make the performance available on demand. The festival has also shared an official response to the chants led by Vylan, saying that it is appalled by his comments. Same quote, Glastonbury Festival was created in 1970 as a place for people to come together and rejoice in music, the arts, and the best of human endeavor. As a festival, we stand against all forms of war and terrorism. We will always believe in and actively campaign for hope, unity, peace, and love. Okay, so which are supposed to be Woodstock. And then they also said with almost 4,000 performances at Glastonbury 2025, there will inevitably be artists that speakers appearing on our stages whose views we do not share, and a performer's presence here should never be seen as a tacit endorsement of their opinions and beliefs. Well, I don't understand why there's this argument that's always like this go-to thing where it's like, oh no, we don't want no ties to that. We didn't have nothing to do with Bob Vylan or whoever, kneecap or whatever, coming out and saying what they said. And it's like people use, if you're gonna come on a show, whatever, people use their platforms to do whatever. I would think in my mind, because you saw like they were going in overtime, talking about we should have pulled the set. We should have made sure that this didn't happen, that didn't happen. But Glastonbury, we're kind of aware that, you know what, when it comes to certain artists, not everybody is cucked by, oh, we're afraid to come out and speak our minds and say whatever. If you're someone who lives by a whole punk lifestyle, which they are, they're like a rap punk group, obviously he's going to use those influences of being a rebel and a punk and be like, you know what, I'm going to speak out against the atrocities. Nobody's saying Glastonbury was condoning it. He took it upon himself to say what he said. So those are the consequences he's going to have to deal with. And yeah, we see the fallout happening in real time where their visas was revoked for the U.S. because they probably had shows that were going to be happening in the United States. Which basically goes to show that we need to call ourselves, we need to rename the United States of America the United States of Israel, because if this is the response everybody's having under this current regime, where people can't be allowed to express their opinion, which I should also point out, he did not say death to Jews. So this is the conversation that people are having. He said death to the IDF, which is these military people whose whole purpose is out here killing. You know how many Palestinian people they've killed, particularly women and children, using children as target practice? There was even a video that I saw where there was this old man, I think he was going to go get food or something or another. On his way back home, IDF saw the man, shot him in the head right there as he was going back, just for no reason, because he was just Palestinian walking. So when you have these people creating the amount of atrocities and the sexual assaults that has happened to a lot of the Palestinians under the IDF when they capture a lot of these people, you're okay with that. But when somebody actually says death to an organization that sole purpose is to take the lives of innocent people, if you want to go after Hamas or whatever the case is, go after them. That should be the overall thing. But you've gone out, flat out turned Gaza into a no man's land. You're going out here killing kids. And now the latest stunt that y'all probably haven't heard of, because now that you done pow-powed enough of them and blew up a lot of their land and their bodies and having them get amputated with no anesthesia. The next thing is they're out here drugging the aid. There was a recent photos and things that I saw where someone showed there was pills they pulled out of the flour they were given. So now the next thing is y'all want to get them doped up on drugs. This is the new thing that they're doing. So it's like it never ends with them. So if we're talking about death to a specific group, that is what we should be focusing on. Not the fact that y'all will try to flip this and say, oh, well, if you're against anything that people in Israel are doing, then you're anti-Semitic. Then you're okay with the death of this person. But it was like, well, where was that same energy when Palestinians were being killed? Y'all was real quiet with that. But when it comes to Israel and things of that nature, all of a sudden everybody want to pipe up with their fake ass outrage, including that ugly bastard Hakeem Jeffries. Don't even get me started on him. And the fact of him saying why he wouldn't endorse Zora. I don't know him. Bitch, you not Mariah Carey. All of a sudden, you're talking about, I don't know him. Well, we know you, APAC whore. You will sit and continue to suck the dick of APAC for some coins, but don't do what you need to do to help the Democratic Party because you glad you got a damn position. Now, to finish the rest of their BS post, they put, however, we are appalled by the statements made, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Then they said West Streeting, the government health secretary, said that the BBC and Glastonbury have gotten questions to answer about how we saw such a spectacle on our screens. He told Sunday Morning that Trevor Phillips on Sky News, said the following, but I also think it's a pretty shameless publicity stunt, which I don't really want to give too much indulgence to for that reason. I don't know how you sit up here saying that thinking that's a publicity stunt, because I don't see nothing stunt queen-esque when you're talking about death to the IDF. Where there is a stunt, like a stunt is JoJo Siwa and the shit she doing. That's a publicity stunt. But when you on stage and you actually calling out the atrocities of things that's really happening to people, that legacy media, particularly in the United States, I was going to say in the West, but the United States is not showing, because I've heard like if you go outside the United States, there is more news being shown regarding what's happening with Gaza, Palestine, Palestinian people and all that stuff. They're just not doing it in the United States. So a lot of y'all being shielded from the information unless you are part of, you watch a lot of independent media and you're not watching legacy media. You're not watching like the Fox News and the MSNBC and that bullshitters over there at CNN. Those, people talk about, oh yeah, I'm a political activist like Van Jones, half a faggot ass. Don't even get me started on his ass either. Cause here's another one. Y'all will sell out for a damn CNN check, really? Hope it pays well. But anyway, so they said during kneecap set, the trio led a "fuck Keir Starmer" chant. After the UK Prime Minister said it was not appropriate to be playing the festival amidst Mo Chara's ongoing terror case. So they and then in the article they do have the full report from the show, and then they said the festival concludes Sunday evening with a headline set from Olivia Rodrigo, who I heard turned it out because she brought out Morrissey. I'm like, damn, they bringing out every damn body. From one thing about Olivia Rodrigo, she always likes to bring out the legends and things. So as I said from the beginning, the whole backlash is because they refused to air Kneecap's live set, which basically shows that y'all are literally okay with Islamophobia and the genocide of Palestinians brought on by Netanyahu and the IDF. And when I was pointing this out, especially when I was telling y'all about them out here using Palestinian women and particularly children as target practice and raping the men and women, as well as most recently lacing the flour given to Palestinians with drugs. When I point all this out, apparently I'm a terrorist. I support terrorism. And this was somebody said to me today, and I cussed their ass out and blocked them. Because I was like, what you're not going to do is, because I am in public stuff, we're doing this show and things of that nature. And then my Facebook page is open for everybody, because when you're a public figure, you pretty much have all of that set up that way. I was like, okay, well, you trying to come for me? I'm going to cuss you out. I'm going to read you. Then I found out I was friends with this idiot. So I blocked them. Because what you're not going to do is report me and tell me I'm hate speech and all this other stuff. What you're not going to do is say fuck me and call me a terrorist and all this other stuff and not get read down to the floor. Because when you say that, bitch, I am scalping you until there's no skin left on the top of your goddamn head. So in addition to that, because we need to move on to the other part, which would be the fallout. So after he was, Bob Vylan did the whole death to the IDF chant during his Glastonbury set, UTA, which is his agency, dropped him. As I told y'all before, he was also, their visas got revoked to the United States, so they're not going to be able to perform here. And so, yeah, they said death. Not only did they say death to the IDF, but they also complained about working for a effing Zionist. So I guess what they said there was, oh, you got a problem working for Zionists, then we're not going to rep you anymore. So there's that. And then he also platformed the controversial slogan, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be. Why is that controversial? Because they said from the river, because it's from Deadline, so we already know where y'all lean to. From the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be free during the West Holt stage set, streamed live on the BBC. Well, that all rhymes. Now, UTA insiders are thought to have shared the sentiments of Glastonbury organizers, who said that Vylan overstepped their mark with his comments on stage. UTA declined to comment, but the band's page has been scrubbed from the agency's website. So, to wrap this up, Bob Vylan has spoken out and posted a statement on his Instagram, which I think also, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't think y'all saw this too. Hold on, let me pull that up, because I want y'all to see the video of what he what started it all. Because I was like, yeah, that was the plan that I was going to show y'all that. So hold on a second while I pull this video up, and we will come back and talk. Please hold.
Free, 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 free. All right, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF. 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 Hell yeah.
First of all, why they spell it DEAF? Like are y'all making fun of the fact that when you say the Brits, they can't say death, so they say death. Well, y'all already heard the song. I was like, that was kind of catchy though. And look, the people in the comments said, suddenly I'm a huge Bob Vylan fan. Love you. Another person said, informed people support you. Absolutely. And that's where I am on this. It's like we are informed of what's happening in the world. So we support that part. And the IDF is the problem. The way y'all are using the military and how that military is being used to go after a certain group of people. That is where the root of the issue is. So then when y'all try to gloss it over, oh, you're anti-Semitic, oh, you hate Jews, you hate that. Like, no, don't do that. Because what you're not going to do is twist the words. Because when you say anti-Semitism, when you throw that in there, that's a trigger. That gets people thinking a certain way. And then it starts this whole all-out situation where people try to back off and they get scared, which is why I love the fact that when they be trying to come for Zoran Mamdani in regards to this whole situation about, with the Israel questions, he knew as a Muslim man, he was smart, he knew how to answer it. Whereas everybody else, oh, it's uncomfortable, I want to move away from it. Oh, not me. Because when it comes down to shit, if you are knowledgeable on things and you know what's really going on, you can really hit them back with the stuff where they can't come for you. And so that's what that is. This is all reactionary on the corporation's part, like the Glastonburys and their agency and stuff, because they're afraid of, when you are cucked by the powers that be, you have a certain line that you have to, go on. And then another person said, love you as you choose the right side. Another person said, free Palestine. Another person said, you are a hero. Another person said, you were the highlight of Glasto. You are just incredible. So a lot of people, and it's funny how they said, why don't you call for peace or a ceasefire? Well, it just goes to show you're not paying attention to the whole conversation, because what good is that going to do, especially anyway? So they had Lauren J. Isn't he from, what's that damn group with Camila Cabello? Yeah, Lauren, I don't even know how the hell you say her name, but she threw some fire emojis up in there. So we have celebrities in the mix too. But last but certainly not least, we do have their statement and what they said in the whole Instagram situation, which I did not mean to close that situation. So let me pull their statement up so that way we could all read that as a class. And hold on, because let me take this out. I don't know if y'all gonna be able to see it, but I'll read it. So he said, as I lay in bed this morning, my phone buzzing nonstop, inundated with messages of both support and hatred, I listened to my daughter typing out loud as she fills out a school survey asking for her feedback on the current state of her school dinners. She expressed that she would like healthier meals, more options, and dishes inspired by other parts of the world. Listening to her voice, her opinions on a matter that she cares about and affects her daily reminds me that we may not be doomed after all. Teaching our children to speak up for the change they want and need is the only way that we make this world a better place. As we grow older and our fire possibly starts to dim under the suffocation of adult life and all its responsibilities, it is incredibly important that we encourage and inspire future generations to pick up the torch that was passed to us. Let us display to them loudly and visibly the right thing to do when we want and need change. Let them see us marching in the streets, campaigning on ground level, organizing online, and shouting about it on any and every stage that we are offered. Today is the change in school dinners. Tomorrow is a change in foreign policy. So, I guess we could just leave it at that. Because he also, because I think, what was it? He also said, oh yeah, he said, I said what I said. That's what he said on your page, on your post. And one person said, well, shout out to celebrities from Palestine. They said your stance on Palestine will be taught for all generations. Your words at Glasgow Fest are still echoing, louds of love and solidarity to you at Bob Vylan. So a lot of people are, applauding them for, it's like, yeah, this is something that literally, this is the only thing everybody's talking about pretty much at Glastonbury. So clearly something, a nerve has been struck, whether good, bad, or indifferent. And then somebody also put, drop by your agent, you won't get a visa for USA, you're finished. Not necessarily, because you think a visa is going to stop somebody from having an opinion and speaking out, they can go to other places and work. So if you really thought that you ate with that comment, you didn't. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to the whole Bob Vylan situation? And everything that's been going on with them. It's just like, look, sometimes when you are an artist, it's like, yes, you got to let your voice be heard. And if this is going to ruffle feathers and get people mad, oh well. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts on this story in the comments down below.